I already expect many people to challenge the word Bantu. Yes, the word has been loosely translated into people. However, oral history talks about a man called Mtu, who is the father of many Bantu people. Okay, so the Mtu person is not really there in history. I don't know where to find anything about him, but I will show you when we go to the lineages that he's still being used as a reference as the first person of Bantu. So when you say Bantu, Ba will always denote of, and then Tu will denote the person, the name of the person too. So you cannot say Bantu, it's just word people, because it means we are of Ndu. It's people of Ndu. So not everyone is of Ndu, and not everyone can call himself Bantu, even though the word now is translated as Bantu, but you can't say it means people only. I don't think that is the right way of using that word. Another thing that I've noted, it is almost impossible to find black people's languages in books or on the internet. I had to use Xhosa's kinship line to demonstrate that there was a man called Tu. You may find this lineage on Wikipedia. I will leave a link for reference. As you can see here, at the top of the pyramid, there's a person called Ndu, followed by Nguni, and then followed by Nkosiyane, and so forth. So if this Ndu is a myth, why would they include him in their lineage? That would be really, really like wrong, because you will include a myth person in your lineage. So we are not just Bantu because we're just people, but we are people of somebody. We are children of somebody. That means we are children of Ndu. So as I'm throwing this question, why would Europeans say they coined this word when Bantu have a forefather or an ancestor called Ndu? Why would they coin that word? That doesn't make sense. It was to throw you off so that you do not talk about Ndu, so that you do not know your history. It was not just to say, oh, okay, we just found people who call themselves Bantu, and then now we see that they all say the similar words and so forth. But it was to throw you off from the history of knowing who was Ndu. Why was he used in all references, like in terms of the way of life of black people that are living in Africa that call themselves Abantu or Batu or Banu, whatever the word they use to call themselves? Because we have words like Ubuntu, that is the way of life, and that's being a human. That means there are certain things that you are expected to do as a human being. You cannot live like a beast or a monster among people. So you have to be umuntu. You have to have ubuntu. You have to practice isintu. Those are your traditions and cultures passed down to you by your forefathers. You have to practice those things, and they will call them isintu, and that is like encompassing also the spiritual part of it. In this slide, I just want to demonstrate that on one end of Africa, someone has a similar language to another tribe in the other end of it. I would like to apologize that I could not include as many Bantu languages due to Google Translate limited languages. My home language is Zulu, by the way. If you may observe closely, many words share vowels more than they share consonants. For instance, rain in Zulu and Xhosa is imvula, but mvua in Swahili, mvura in Shona, and pula in Southern Sotho. The common vowels are U and A. Some languages have common consonants like MV, but this is not across all Bantu languages. This will be helpful in identifying the Bible language, original language as we move along. When you eliminate vowels and work with consonants only, some Bantu languages will throw you off. As to why Bantu languages were used, that is something I'm still trying to figure out. Yes, many people claim we are the people of the book, but I'm in between with that theory. Let me just say, I'm not utterly convinced because of the mess that is in that book. If God is a God is not a God of confusion as far as I know. So in that book, now that I have read it in Bantu languages, it is completely out of order. It's not exactly what we do. It's like turning upside down what we do. And I cannot call that my history, and I cannot claim it as my culture. You cannot call head feet and feet head and then say that is the truth because it's said in your language. No, that's not true. So according to me, that Bible is very dark and it's very dangerous. So I do not want to discourage people from using it because I'm still trying to understand why they will make it be so dark. Because now that I've seen it, it's like my eyes opened in a different way. I've used it, I've known it, I've memorized it. It was part of me from primary school. And then I went on to university as a student, but I was not studying it, but I was reading it on a daily basis as a devoted Christian. So I'll say that I pretty much have a good understanding of it, and when I read it in English or in my language, which is Zulu, I kind of know what the scriptures say. But when I take it back to the Hebrew language or the Greek, then I realize no, it's not exactly what I think it is. So it's gonna be a journey to try and show how this Bible has been used to turn the world upside down, and so sort of like determine where each tribe is gonna be in future, and we cannot go above what is in that book. It's just like it's not prophecy, but I will talk about it later because I don't want to scare people off yet. But it's something dark. So as I have spoken about the fact that there are certain words that share vowels, and there are certain words that just share everything, maybe vowels and consonants. So you will see when we start to use the Hebrew or the Greek, I don't know much of it. I don't want to start calling myself an expert of the Hebrew or Greek, but I'll say when I use the meanings that they give to us, and sometimes even if I don't use the meaning, I can just read the word and then get an understanding as to what word they were trying to use. So when I start to do that, you will see that the Bible was written using the Southern African languages. I don't want to say South Africa because South Africa will be limiting. We have other languages that are outside South Africa that we share, and those are still Southern African nations or countries. So I don't want you to take my word for it though, as I will be going along. I don't want anyone to follow me blindly because I also chose not to follow anyone on the internet blindly. I started like that, where I was following, but then something was throwing me off, and I had to go back and say I have to find answers all by myself, and I don't have anyone to bounce questions to. So I sort of like try to sit on the word that I want to understand, until I get the answer, and you won't find references for certain things because there's very limited literature on those things. So I will not be referencing to any book written by European or Chinese or whatever, Asian, whatever other country or continent. I will only be using my language as a reference to say, what does my language say this word mean? And then go back to the text to try and understand the context of the story, just so that we can understand what was the purpose of the Bible. Because believe you me, at first I couldn't believe it. At first I was laughing. I thought it was a joke. But then as I was following it, I realized no, it's not a joke. They use this thing for something else. And at first I thought, no, it could be fiction. And I found certain stories that were similar, almost word for word, for our history. But when I take the person that is being used as a person who, like whatever that event that took place, it will be referring to someone else. Then I was like, no, it can't be. So they say this person did this, but I know from history that it was not that person, it was this person. So then I realized that it wasn't necessarily fiction, and it's also not history because it is distorted history, and also the names and everything, like it's dark. Let me just say that it is as dark as you can think of it. It's deep and dark, but yes, it has been used for good things. For me personally, I've seen changes in my life using the Bible. Like I've believed in certain scriptures, and I've seen like God coming true. And I don't like to use that word God because I do not know what it means for real. But yes, I'll use it for now. I've seen God coming through for me using the Bible. So as I go along, I'm hoping that you will not follow me blindly, but you also make your own research, especially with Google Translate. That one is easy. Just take any language that you want to use. If you don't think it was Bantu, you can use any language, Yoruba, Igbo, whatever other languages that are in Africa, and just take any Hebrew word to see if it fits. And if it doesn't, you can still come back to any Bantu language you want to check. As I say, it's Southern African. You can maybe start with Eastern if you want to just confirm, and then move along to Southern African until you are fine. Maybe you can have a number of words that you want to confirm. Let's say you want to have 10 words to prove that it's written in the Southern African language, or you can have hundreds, or you can have 1,000. It's up to you. I'm not going to dictate how to actually do your own research, because it's very important that you be the driver of your own faith, because I don't want to drill it into your mind to believe the way I believe. I just want you to have that mind of finding out what the truth is, and going forward believing, knowing exactly whether you want to continue with that journey of believing in Christianity, or you want to do something else, do research into what was African spirituality before and how you actually can do it. And remember, there's a lot of deception as well. Even in the African spirituality, people have lost ways. They've done things that were not supposed to be done. So it's corrupted to the core as well. So you also want to be able to do things the right way. As to how you're going to get it, all I can say is the kingdom of God is within you. You will find the answer when you look for it. Thank you.